farm, family, community. This is Midwest Farm Weekly.
Good morning, I'm Elaine Wells, and thank you for joining us on Midwest Farm Weekly. On the show today, as we near planting season, do you have the best seed for your soil? We are talking about getting rid of 2 common pests even before spring. Then we celebrate National FFA Week. We will meet a state officer from our area who's taking her passion far beyond the classroom. And they help to promote ag events and businesses while preserving special memories on video. We'll chat with the creative team from Dan Hagenow Video Creation about some of their current projects. This is planting season for farmers, and while many have already placed their seed orders, it is a good idea to reflect on last year's crop before you do any actual planting. I spoke with Chris Sharapata from Seed Sales in Peshtigo about 2 pests that they can help control.
There's a lot of things to look for when selecting your seed for your operation. It does start in the summer, though. You want to have either an agronomist or you be out there looking for, are there any disease pressures that we should be concerned about, or pest.
Chris says communication is key before we hit planting season. If you had issues in your fields last season, your seed salesperson needs to know.
2 of the pests that we are watching closely are western bean cutworm and rootworm. Western bean cutworm does overwinter, and it can have 1, 2, 3, 4 different worms in an ear, causing a lot of yield loss. Molds in the ear of the corn, which then could cause obviously nutritional issues with the cattle.
One of the easiest ways to tackle this pest is using corn with specific genetic traits. For addressing rootworm, Chris says you need to rotate fields if possible.
With that one, you're going to see you got to be actually digging the plants because the larvae will chew on the roots. And that if the roots are gone, obviously that reduces the amount of nutrients and water that the plant can uptake. So, I mean, you could lose 10, 20, 30, 40 bushel to the acre if this isn't monitored. Sometimes if you get a rain event or you get a heavy storm come through and all that corn just kind of goosenecks back up, it doesn't guarantee that it's rootworm, but I would get out there and check. Get those roots dug and see if there's been any feeding. The same can go if you're driving 60 miles an hour down the road and the corn looks beautiful. Doesn't mean there's not rootworm there just because it's standing straight. You got to, again, get out and dig those roots.
Well, his team is highlighting these issues.
These 2 pests are by no means new to the area, and we haven't seen thresholds that are just higher than normal. But when we do have the issues in the field, we need to know about it so that we can be addressing these to get you the correct seed.
So if you noticed a drop in yield or mold showing up in your ration, it's time to address it to avoid another season of unwelcome visitors in your field.
Well, you got to look at the big picture. Is it always the seed? I mean, and working with an agronomist is huge to see what are my issues. Is it nutrients? Is it the seed? Is it, there's a lot of possibilities that it could be. And I guess trying to get a big scope trying to get the big picture to see how can we help you.
Chris tells me our unseasonably warm weather should not impact the number of larvae that could be here for the growing season ahead. Recent census data showed a 30% reduction in the number of dairy farms in Wisconsin since 2017. The CEO of Edge Dairy Farmer Cooperative says the numbers were not a surprise, but he is still optimistic about Wisconsin maintaining our title of America's Dairyland.
And this is a place where every dairy cow would want to be. I mean, we have good resources here. We have good climate. We have the best infrastructure for dairy of any other state. Of anybody in dairy doesn't have to go too far to find all the supplies they need, all the animal husbandry services. I mean, we're really lucky and fortunate that we're in the state of Wisconsin because that's unique.
Trotter says getting a new generation of farm owners engaged in the industry is critical. He acknowledges the high cost of transitioning, and in an extended interview on the Midwest Farm Weekly website, you can hear his thoughts on how we should bring more people into the industry. A reminder for poultry owners, do not let your biosecurity guard down. There have been several confirmed cases of highly pathogenic avian influenza in eastern Canada and in a number of U.S. states. As birds migrate, there's a concern that they will bring the virus with them. Growers should minimize interaction between wild birds and their domestic poultry flocks. Keeping feed and water inside can really make your property less attractive to those wild birds. A Wisconsin couple earned a title at the 2024 National Outstanding Young Farmers of the Year event. Carolyn and Brody Staple are among 4 of those national winners. The couple farms with family in Sheboygan County, raising dairy and beef animals. The event happened last weekend in Washington. Now in its 70th year, Wisconsin has had 21 national winners. Congratulations to the Staples. As National FFA Week comes to a close, we will meet one of our state officers coming up in Life on the Farm. The unseasonably warm temperatures are throwing farmers a bit of a curveball. Local 5's Ryan Kudish finds out what plants are affected the most in this edition of Sustainably Speaking.
Unseasonably mild temperatures for a large chunk of the meteorological winter have settled into northeast Wisconsin. But how is this affecting crops that were planted in the fall? That's what I asked Chris Clark, an outreach specialist with the UW-Madison Extension. Clark says the signs are not good.
We have crops that are actively trying to overwinter, and having the snow melt, they lose that insulation cover. So it's a lot like wearing a jacket, and without that jacket there, if we get continued nighttime temps that maybe are a little bit lower and then we get warm again, this can cause something that we call winter kill. Alfalfa is the main perennial plant that is seeing the brunt of these warm temperatures. Farmers prefer to see 4 to 6 inches of snow on the ground starting in November to cover the crops from the typical colder temperatures of the winter. Owner and operator of Brickstead Dairy, Dan Brick, says there are mixed emotions with how this winter has transpired.
With the lack of snow cover, that can really hurt the alfalfa, especially with it starting to grow. The one advantage that we have is actually it is a little bit drier. If it is really wet, there's more risk of heaving of the soil when it does get really cold out, and it breaks off those roots down underneath the plant.
Even though we endured a major cold snap in mid-January, the snowpack from our big storm of the season helped to keep the crops well insulated. Now with the soil warming, crops are being tricked by the mild weather. While there isn't much one can do, Clark offers up these few tips. Considering cover crops if they haven't already done that. In trying to have some type of a perennial crop in their crop rotation. So even though the alfalfa or a grassy forage may be a little bit stressed out by not having the snow cover, you can choose a variety that does well in our state. And if they don't have cover crops, leave as much crop residue as you can out there. And that's Sustainably Speaking. I'm Ryan Kudish, Local 5 News.
Meteorologist Alexis Staniak joins us now. How long will these above average temps stick around?
You know, it's going to be for quite some time. The Climate Prediction Center has us going with above average temperatures all the way now into April. As of Thursday, we've had 21 days with above average temperatures this month of February. The warmest being on the 21st. We recorded a high of 56 degrees, about 20 to even almost 30 degrees above average. One below average day as of Thursday. That was before the cold snap. That coldest low temperature was on February 17th with a low of 8 degrees. This is easily the warmest February to date. This year we recorded an average high temperature this month of 33.2 degrees, well above the year below that. That used to be the warmest at 2012 with an average temperature around 29.2 degrees. And on top of that, this is the warmest winter to date. From December 1st until now, our average temperature is at almost 31 degrees, also well above now what is in second place from 01 and 02 with an average temperature that used to be at around 28 degrees. And the warming trend continues. We continue to rebound in temperatures this Saturday back into the mid to upper 30s, 50 degrees by Sunday, 54 on Monday, almost 60 degrees on Tuesday. A little system comes through Wednesday into Thursday, cooling us off again. And then we're back to the very warm temperatures, 46 by next Saturday. And looks like we will likely get into the 60s as we enter that first weekend end of March. The Climate Prediction Center continues to keep us in this well above average category for temperatures heading into looks like even the second week of March. So very warm. And of course, with those warmer temperatures, we have almost no snow left on the ground. Maybe some snowpacks with areas that had built up with larger snow piles from snow that happened in January. Otherwise, really not much going on. We are so below average for snow for now the entire season. So that's from December 1st until now as well. This season, we've accumulated about 28 inches of snowfall. Average is almost 37 inches, and we are above average, though, where we stood just a year ago at 36 inches for 2023. Through the next week and a half, looks like we could see some light snow accumulation come through. Keep in mind with how warm we are, a lot of the snow that will come through will be heavier snow, more of a slush. Looks like we could get a decent amount of rain to come through as well, especially with that system that's coming in midweek. We could accumulate anywhere from a half of an inch up to maybe potentially an inch and a half to come through. More of the rain and the heavier parts of the system will stay to our south from Chicago down through even Indiana. Now we are in this above average category for temperatures for precipitation across the entire country, essentially heading into the next week and a half or so as well. So very warm and very wet. This is a perfect El Nino setup for this time of the year, and it looks like the above normal precipitation will continue into the end of March as well. Stay with us. More Ag News coming up after the break.
Well, Jeremy Hansen here from Fox Valley Technical College for Life on the Farm. And today I'm actually at Seymour High School, and talking with me today is Amber Bunnell. Amber, thank you so much for your time today. Now, Amber, you are part of FFA, correct?
Yes, I am. I'm actually one of the Wisconsin State FFA officers representing Section 8, and I'm also one of the state vice presidents.
Right. And state of Wisconsin, you're plugged in. How does Wisconsin actually fit in with the national FFA? Yeah,
exactly. So there are over almost 1 million members nationwide. That includes all 50 states and Puerto Rico into this. And in Wisconsin, we have over 25,000 members with over 200 different chapters representing our state.
Right. And what I really wanted to talk to you today is this is FFA week, correct?
Yes, it is.
So what has your life been like this week so far?
I've been all over the state this week, anywhere from down in the south all the way up to the north side and even in northeastern Wisconsin.
Right. So what are some of the activities that you've done or that we'll be doing this week?
So on Monday, I was actually on the actual capital of FFA Day on the Hill. That's where all different chapters from all 10 sections go to there and talk a little bit about what the chapter has been doing as a part of FFA and how our nation or our capital can help with our organization. And I've also been all the way up to here for our last district leadership development contest, which is a speaking contest. And I go through all different breakfasts they've been holding and different activities as well.
Right. So this is a busy week for you, no doubt. But FFA isn't just this 1 week, right? FFA is pretty active the whole year, correct?
Yes, and especially as a state officer, because we're constantly traveling, going to different conferences, holding a bunch of different workshops, doing all different chapter visits to educate others about how wonderful this organization is.
And Amber, last question for you is why do you do this and why are you involved with FFA?
I do this because I have a really big passion in agriculture. It's what shaped me to the person who I am today. Growing up as a disabled person in the world, I did not know what I was going to do up until I joined FFA, where I challenged myself to show animals for the first time. And it was a bit of a challenge because having CP or cerebral palsy is very hard, but this organization has been so welcoming and belonging to me, and ever since then, I found a place in my heart for FFA, and now I'm educating to other people how they can fit in FFA, no matter the ability and all that. So if you're not in FFA already, I encourage everybody to join FFA and get started, because you never know where this organization might take you in the future.
Right, and that's a wonderful story, Amber. Thank you so much for your time today, and I really appreciate talking with you.
Thank you as well.
So for Life on the Farm, I'm Jeremy Hansen.
I'm told this is what farmers do. I'm just looking the part. I'm a professional now, so I got to look the part. No, whoa, hang on. We need a leash and a collar. Oh, missed. Are there any stones out here? Is this find a needle in the haystack?
Oh boy, have we all been there. That is Pastor Kyle from Zion Lutheran Church of Wayside, part of an auction. He spent a little bit of time at a farm. Dan Hagenow Video Creation was there to capture it all, much to our enjoyment. Owner of that company, Dan, is here along with new team member Abby Pope. Good morning to both of you.
Morning.
Dan, we will get to that video in just a moment, but first of all, give us a little bit of background on your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Here at DH Video, we create videos for businesses, organizations, farms, anybody who is in the need for somebody to tell their story. So we specialize in shorter videos that are branding, promotional, event related that'll end up on a website or be on Facebook or social media. So since we've been here last, we also have Abby with us now on board since last June, and she's been doing great so far. So.
Well, I love to see the videos you guys have sent our way, but really carving out a niche for yourself in the agriculture business. You guys understand this industry at a different level. Why does that lend itself to such an incredible finished product?
Yeah, Abby and I both actually come from farming backgrounds. We both grew up on farms, so I think for the both of us, it's just so rewarding to still be a part of that industry and be able to highlight the stories that go on every day. And I think more and more it's becoming important, I'm sure as you know, to highlight your story and to connect with consumers. And I think doing a video and creating some things like that just really helps connect consumers. So.
And the lead up to June Dairy Month, we know, is a very, very busy time for your business. You work with a lot of local farms and counties to promote their breakfast events. You wanted to highlight a few of those, and you do have some room in your schedule.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely. We're always willing to take on some more counties leading up to June Dairy Month. And so, yeah, the first ones that we've been working on was for Kewaunee County, which is the video you see here. And so we were able to meet Jeremy Heim with Heim's Hillcrest Dairy and Heim Brothers Customs, and so they're hosting Kewaunee County's Breakfast on the Farm. And so that was an awesome opportunity just to get to see them and then help advertise, promote for the event and things like that.
I know a lot of times you do these preview videos and then I see you at Breakfast on the Farm itself. To be with those families on that journey, why is that special?
It's fun because you see and you hear the time when we do the interviews and things up front on how much work has to be done, but then to actually be able to be there the day of the event and capture them smiling and having a good time and just taking it all in, I think is kind of cool.
Abby, you recently had the chance to work with a family to create a bit of a video keepsake. Introduce us to their story.
Yeah, so we actually got to work with a family out of Broadhead, Wisconsin, and this was a keepsake for them. The Hosleys, as we know, unfortunately, a lot of small farms are kind of disappearing in Wisconsin. So for us to be able to create this memory for them and capture all the goodness, it's just going to be a cherished memory for them. So we were there from sunup till almost chore time, I believe it was, capturing the milking process, feeding calves, their family on the farm, because as you know, they have their kids that are here, they have their grandpa that's there as well. So hopefully this is more than just an ending, and it's a memory that they can look back on and remember all the good times and the little stories.
You're a part of a lot of interesting milestones for families, that's for sure. You mentioned it though, you guys spend a lot of time with these customers. I said I was so jealous. I'm in and out sometimes in an hour between different shoots. You guys bring in really a full slate of gear and you take the time to be there for a couple hours, sometimes a couple of days.
Yeah, it's nice. That way we can kind of capture everything, you know, as we know, farming, sometimes things are on schedule, sometimes they're not. And so we can really, you know, specialize and get everything that the customer would like. And so I think that goes a long ways.
When you see my videos, don't compare them to Dan's. That's why we're in two different universes. We're grateful to have a partnership with you in that respect. We have to talk about Pastor Kyle, who kicked off this segment. What a good sport. Tell me how this all happened.
Yeah, so this all sparked from an idea. The pastor at my church, he asked what he could donate to the auction. And so I had just gone back to like FFA and labor auctions. I'm like, just donate a couple hours of your work and maybe somebody might bite on it, you know? So he responded and goes, how about we do this? How about I'll do the 3 hours of work, but you film it. And so the official title or the thing at the auction was called 3 Hours of Work by Pastor Kyle, filmed by DH Video. And so little did we know that Wayside Dairy was gonna be the folks who purchased it, and so as you can see here, we're out at Wayside Dairy, and I have to say our pastor did not have much of an egg background.
Okay.
So I know this video kind of picked on him a little bit, but he was a trooper, but nonetheless it was very entertaining. So
I have to tell him though, when he was out picking rocks, the first year I did that on my husband's farm, I thought we had accomplished this massive job. I didn't know you had to do it every year. That was like the worst news of my egg career so far. Abby, talk about the joy that you have found in this profession.
It's just amazing, and like we mentioned before, just getting to know the families and know the people that we work with. I mean, listening to their stories, you see one thing on video, but when you're actually there and doing it, just like Pastor Kyle, he learned a lot more about farming than he had anticipated, but it's really cool to hear the background stories and the laughs and all of that.
So where do we go to watch all of these videos in their entirety?
you can find them all on our Facebook page. Our website should have most of them as well. And so, yeah, our Facebook page is kind of the go-to place. So.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for the work you guys are doing, and we have certainly enjoyed the videos, and we hope you do as well. Thanks for joining us on Midwest Farm.